At 55, Maria lived a simple yet arduous routine. She woke up before sunrise, took the crowded public transport, and spent the entire day cleaning offices and apartments. For many, this was her reality, and she never imagined her life could be different. But everything changed when, one random afternoon, she looked at the floor she had just cleaned and had an idea. An idea that would begin to transform her life in ways she never thought possible. Have you ever wondered how far you can go, even after thinking your opportunity has passed? Is there a point when it's too late to start over and achieve your dreams? Maria didn't think it was too late to change, and unlike many, she didn't let difficulties get her down. With courage and vision, she began taking small but firm steps that would lead her to a future she never imagined. Yes, she was 55 years old, and starting from scratch with no money, no business experience, and no support from anyone. But most importantly, she possessed something many young people lack: wisdom, life experience, and an unwavering desire to improve. With these qualities, Maria not only rewrote her own story, but also the stories of 20 other people who now work with her. Her life's transformation began at that decisive moment, and what would you do if you were in her shoes? Maria had never imagined that that simple moment of reflection could be the turning point she'd been searching for. After years of exhausting work as a cleaning lady, she began to realize that, although her routine was difficult, there was one constant in her life. She was always in control, keeping everything clean, tidy, and functioning. And this made her think, why not apply that same dedication and attention to detail to something that was her own, something she could build with her own effort? The first step to transforming her life was undoubtedly the most difficult. Maria knew she couldn't move forward without understanding how business worked. She had no academic background, but she was always very observant and learned to manage her own work, time management, and the importance of good organization. This led her to believe that, with enough effort, she could learn what it took to start her own business. But the biggest obstacle was yet to come: money. The issue of startup capital was a real barrier, but Maria wasn't willing to give up. She began researching financing options, consulting people who already had some knowledge about starting businesses, and taking free online courses, all in her free time after work. It was a demanding routine, but she felt excited by the possibility of a better future. Before she knew it, ideas began to emerge more clearly. What could she offer others? How could she use her skills as a cleaner for a new venture? She considered the needs of the places where she worked and the people she interacted with. She knew that many small businesses struggled with efficient and reliable cleaning services, and often needed more than just a cleaner. And so it was that, after months of planning and analysis, Maria opened her first small business specializing in cleaning services for offices and commercial spaces. It wasn't a grand opening, but a small step. She started out alone, working even longer shifts to ensure quality service and satisfaction for her first clients. It wasn't easy, and the challenges were immense. She faced resistance from clients who didn't know her and, often, a lack of resources to deliver the excellence she set out to deliver. However, Maria knew that if she could demonstrate her value, trust would come over time. The first major turning point came months later, when one of the clients she had acquired, a small local company, recommended her to 3 other companies. She remembered how excited she was to see the growth potential and recognition for her work. That's when she realized the hard part was over. She had launched and begun to earn people's trust. Now, she had the chance to expand. Maria invested all her profits into growing the business. She hired her first employee, a friend who had previously worked with her. For Maria, this was a significant milestone as she transitioned from service provider to employer. This not only represented a change in her personal life, but also the chance to positively impact the lives of others. From that moment on, she knew she was truly on the right track. She invested in training, professionalized her services, and began considering a more aggressive marketing strategy. Her investments began to pay off, and the business grew. Over time, Maria opened 2 more stores, focusing on cleaning services and also offering professional cleaning products. This was key to expanding her brand. She recognized that many of her customers were looking for quality materials but didn't know where to buy them, and she saw an opportunity. Her vision was sharper than ever, but above all, Maria never lost sight of the quality of her work. Each of her employees, who now numbered 20, played an important role in ensuring impeccable service. She didn't want to be just a store owner. She wanted to be a leader. She cared about every employee, every customer, every detail. Her business became a benchmark not only for its quality, but also for the trust she built over the years. Maria's story isn't just about financial success or business growth. Her journey reflects overcoming limitations and expectations, especially for a woman who, at 55, no one would have guessed would be capable of creating her own empire. She was proof that it's possible to change your reality, even when you're at a point in life where many feel there's no more time or energy to start something new. She showed that the secret to success lies in perseverance, vision, and above all, the belief that opportunities are for those who prepare and dedicate themselves to them. As Maria embarked on her entrepreneurial journey, she encountered new challenges that further tested her resilience and creativity. With stores open and her business booming, she began to feel the weight of being responsible not only for the success of her company, but also for the lives and livelihoods of 20 other people. Hiring and managing people was a responsibility she hadn't imagined taking on, but it had now become an essential part of her routine. At the same time, she was determined to grow her brand sustainably without losing the quality and values that had brought her here. The initial challenge lay in managing the team. While Maria excelled at cleaning, leading a team and ensuring everyone followed the same vision required new skills. Dealing with people with their different personalities and expectations wasn't as simple as it seemed. Maria soon realized her approach needed to change. She couldn't be the only one carrying the weight of the business, and she had to learn to delegate more effectively. This was one of the most difficult moments in her career, as she felt that delegating responsibilities could diminish her control over the quality of her work. But Maria wasn't one to give up in the face of difficulties. She enrolled in leadership and management courses and began seeking mentors who could help her better understand how to create a strong and cohesive company culture. She knew her role wasn't just to do everything herself, but also to develop her team so that the quality of service would be maintained and her company continued to grow. She invested time and effort in training her team, teaching them not only cleaning techniques but also the value of good service and how to treat each customer with respect and professionalism. For Maria, her team was not just a workforce but an extension of her own values and the mission of her company. The second major challenge arose when the market became more competitive. Other companies began offering services similar to hers, and Maria knew that to stand out, she would need to offer something beyond the basics. She had to learn about marketing and how to create a brand, recognized not only for its quality but also for the unique experience it provided. This was a period of constant learning. Maria realized that, although she knew a lot about what she was offering, she needed to stay up to date on market trends, understand new customer demands, and utilize digital tools to expand her reach. She hired a marketing specialist, something that seemed like a big step for someone who, until recently, barely knew what a digital strategy was. The change was gradual, but it began to make a difference. With digital marketing, Maria was able to expand her client network beyond her hometown. She began to secure contracts with mid-sized companies, which saw her brand as synonymous with reliability and quality. The company's visibility increased, and she soon began to notice that her name was being associated with excellent service, which further boosted her reputation. But as business flourished, Maria also faced a major dilemma. Should she expand further or consolidate what she already had? She knew that further growth meant more responsibility and risk. But on the other hand, she didn't want to stop there. The choices were difficult, but Maria remained steadfast. She chose to expand her stores and explore new markets, always focusing on the sustainability of her business. Maria wasn't willing to lose control of what she had achieved, so she surrounded herself with a trusted team to help her run the stores efficiently. During this period of growth, Maria also realized that one of her greatest strengths lay in her ability to adapt. While many of her competitors were stuck in old methods or resistant to change, she was willing to test new ways of operating. She began adopting new technologies, such as task management and inventory control applications, which allowed her to streamline processes and increase productivity. Her ability to learn and adapt quickly to new challenges made her a respected businesswoman in the industry. Looking back on her career, Maria understood that the key to success wasn't having the answer to everything, but knowing how to learn from mistakes and adapt to new circumstances. Every obstacle that arose was an opportunity for her to grow and improve, whether as a leader, entrepreneur, or person. She began to see each challenge as a reflection of her own determination. Business was no longer just about making money. It was about building something lasting that could benefit not only her family herself, but also those around her. At 60, Maria was no longer a janitor who physically cleaned offices, but a successful businesswoman who understood how hard work and resilience could transform a life. She learned to lead, innovate, and face challenges with wisdom and patience. Her journey exemplified that it's never too late to start over, and that effort, combined with a clear vision and continuous learning, can open doors and create opportunities, even for those who once thought the time for a fresh start had passed. And with that, Maria not only built a successful business but also became an inspiration to all who believe that life can begin at any moment, regardless of age or circumstances. As the years passed, Maria saw her life take on proportions she never imagined. At 60, she not only had 3 stores, but also a legacy of hard work, courage, and innovation that echoed throughout the city. Her businesses thrived, and now she was no longer just an entrepreneur, but a benchmark in the cleaning and quality products market. Those initial difficulties, the financial challenges, and the lack of experience seemed distant, as if they were part of another life. But while success seemed inevitable, Maria knew she couldn't rest on her laurels. There was something more she wanted to achieve, something beyond simply making more money. She clearly remembered when she started and knew that to continue growing, she couldn't stop learning and innovating. For Maria, the key word had always been transformation. But now, the transformation she sought wasn't just within her business. It was something deeper, involving her vision for how she could impact the world around her. She wanted to ensure that her business was known not only for its excellence, but also for the way it treated people, its customers, its employees, and the community. One of the first changes Maria decided to implement was a more human approach to her team. From the beginning, she knew her business couldn't function without people who were equally committed. However, over time, she realized that the simple employer-employee relationship wasn't enough to create the true unity she sought. For her, it was essential that everyone who worked with her felt part of something bigger, part of a common mission. It was then that she began investing not only in technical training, but also in personal development programs. She created workshops on leadership, confidence, and empathy because she believed that her employees, by feeling more secure and confident, could perform at their best. Each of the 20 employees who worked with Maria became a key player in her company's growth. They were not just employees, but partners on a journey that Maria knew she couldn't undertake alone. Maria also began to reinforce a culture of collaborative work. She created an environment where everyone's ideas, regardless of position, were heard and valued. This fostered a sense of belonging among employees who became even more engaged in company decisions. For Maria, the company should not be just a hierarchical structure, but a place where everyone could grow together, learn together, and face challenges together. This new focus on more humane and participatory management made all the difference in the team's performance and in strengthening the brand. With her company solidified and a motivated team, Maria began to look for new opportunities for expansion. She knew the cleaning market was saturated and competition was increasingly fierce. However, Maria was undaunted. She always believed that if you wanted to truly stand out, you had to go beyond the basics. That's when she decided to diversify her operations, expanding into areas previously considered far from her core business. The first major change was opening an online store. She knew the trend toward online shopping was booming, and she needed to capitalize on it. Maria began selling her quality cleaning products on a digital platform, offering fast delivery and personalized service. She, who previously struggled to even grasp the basics of digital marketing, was now leading the way in e-commerce. She sought a specialist to manage the online store and personally dedicated herself to promoting her products on social media, always focusing on transparency and direct contact with her customers. The online store quickly became a success, bringing in a new source of revenue and helping to further expand her brand's visibility. It wasn't long before Maria identified another opportunity: sustainability. She knew that environmental issues were becoming increasingly important to consumers and that, if she wanted to continue growing, her company needed to align with these new expectations. That's when she decided to launch a line of eco-friendly products made with natural ingredients and sustainable packaging. This change not only attracted new customers, but also reinforced her brand's image as an innovative and responsible company. The public reacted positively to the initiative, and Maria realized she was once again at the forefront of the market. With all these changes, Maria not only diversified her business but also reaffirmed her position as an entrepreneur who understands the importance of evolution. She didn't limit herself to what she had already achieved. She was constantly adapting, innovating, and creating new paths to success. The impact she made was greater than any number of stores or sales. She became an example of how it is possible to reinvent yourself regardless of age or circumstances. And the impact wasn't limited to business. Maria began to become more actively involved in her community, supporting social projects that helped empower people in vulnerable situations. She became a mentor to women who, like her, had started late but still had big dreams. Maria knew that for her journey to have even more meaning, she needed to share her knowledge and inspire others to believe that it's never too late to start over. Today, Maria is much more than a successful businesswoman. She is a woman who transformed her life and the lives of many others, who showed that persistence, vision, and a desire to innovate can overcome any obstacle. She is still the same woman who started as a cleaner, but now her name is synonymous with success, not only in business, but also in the way she has positively impacted the lives of everyone around her. And with each new day, Maria continues to write her story, showing that there is always room for a new beginning. As the years passed, Maria became a role model not only in the cleaning industry, but also among a wider circle of entrepreneurs who saw in her an example of perseverance and vision. Her journey was unique, but it carried with it a lesson that applies to everyone. Success isn't something given. It's something achieved through continuous effort, resilience, and above all, the courage to start, no matter how many times life throws at us. With her 3 established stores and an online store generating consistent profits, Maria finally looked back on the road she'd traveled. She knew that, throughout this journey, self-confidence was one of the fundamental pillars that helped her overcome obstacles. When she began her journey as a cleaning lady, no one imagined she could build something so great, not even herself. But she always believed she had something to offer, that she could change her reality, and that was what kept her going even when the odds seemed insurmountable. Despite all her success, Maria didn't settle. With each new achievement, she sought something more. As she herself told her employees, success isn't a straight line, it's a constant curve of evolution. The important thing isn't where you are, but where you're going. And with this philosophy, she took her company to even higher levels. She became increasingly involved in training her employees, believing that by investing in them, she would not only strengthen the company but also the community around her. But Maria's success wasn't limited to finances or business growth. She began to realize she had an even greater responsibility to inspire others to believe that there's no age limit to starting over, to reinvent yourself, to reach new horizons. She saw women in her city, the same age as she herself had started, and remembered how unmotivated she felt at first. Maria then began creating mentoring programs, supporting other women who wanted to enter the workforce or even start their own businesses. She knew her story could be the key to awakening something great in others. In one of the mentoring programs, Maria met Anna, a woman also starting out in her early 50s, afraid of failure but eager to transform her life. Maria became her mentor, and through the process, Anna learned to recognize her inner power. Together, they not only worked on developing a business idea but also on building self-confidence and resilience. Anna now has her own company, and when she looks back, she sees Maria not only as a mentor but also as a true source of inspiration. Maria became recognized not only for the quality of her work but also for her generosity in sharing her knowledge. She was invited to speak at entrepreneurship events, always delivering the same message: it's never too late to start, and every obstacle can be overcome with planning, dedication, and self-confidence. She knew her story had immense transformative power. If she could change her life, why couldn't others? Over the years, Maria's 3 stores have become synonymous with quality and trust in the market. But more than that, her social actions and her impact on the lives of others were what made her a truly successful businesswoman. Over time, she dedicated herself to creating not only a business legacy, but also a human one. She invested in inclusion programs and offered opportunities for people from underprivileged communities to learn a trade and find decent employment. Even with such success, Maria never abandoned her roots. She still remembers the time when she cleaned offices and thought her life would always be like this. But looking back at what she had built, she knew it was all the result of her determination. The cleaning she once did was now just a distant memory. What mattered now was the impact she could make, the example she could set for those who thought it was too late to achieve their dreams. In one of her lectures, Maria said something that remained etched in the memory of everyone present. The secret to success is not talent or luck, but the will to keep going when everyone says you can't. The secret is believing that, no matter how difficult it may be, you have the ability to change your story, start over, and make a difference. That phrase summed up everything Maria represented. A woman who, at 55, transformed her life and who, with great effort, today inspires an entire generation. Maria's legacy is a powerful reminder that, regardless of age or circumstances, there is always time to restart. She not only transformed her reality, but also helped create a network of people who believe in the power of perseverance. Her success story, from a cleaning lady to a successful businesswoman, will continue to inspire many others to pursue their dreams, to overcome themselves, and to never give up, because, as Maria proved, what truly matters is not where you start, but where you decide to go. If you were inspired by Maria's journey and believe it's never too late to start, subscribe to our channel to follow more stories of overcoming obstacles and entrepreneurship. Here, we always have something new to motivate you to take the next step in your own journey. Let's join us on this journey of transformation.